within the corporate world, stress is a very popular subject matter. Recently in California, I was asked to speak at the Apple Corporation offices and in the Oracle offices. And they both asked me to speak on the subject of how to deal with stress. So I was thinking corporate people must be under a lot of stress because that's what they want to hear about. I don't know how it is in Intel, but maybe. Competition and so many things changing and demands, and sometimes people like us and sometimes they don't like us, and our domestic family life, there's all sorts of dynamics going on there, and our health and the environment. So many reasons for stress. We may not be able to change the world, but we all have a powerful choice in which we can change ourselves and our perception. Because when we actually connect to who we really are and our relationship with God, which is beyond all sectarian conceptions, we also can experience a direct connection with every living being in their essence. There's a beautiful verse in Bhagavad Gita that means so much to me. I'd like to share it with you. Vidyavanaya sampane brahmani gavihastini suni chaiva swapaki cha pandita samadarshana. Real wisdom is when we see every living being with equal vision. Whatever one's race, whatever one's sex, whatever one's nationality, whatever one's social status, or whatever one's species. Whether one is a human or an elephant or a cow or a dog or a cat, we see that wherever there is life, there is the presence of something very sacred, a part of God. When we realize that part of God within ourselves, we can also realize it within all living beings. You cannot love God and not like anyone. You may not like what they do, but in essence we see that living force that's giving life is divine. But due to the various coverings of ego, we act and speak in so many ways. Some people think if one becomes too spiritually happy, then they will not be competitive, and they will not be able to utilize the best of their intelligence and their physical abilities. But that's not the case. Which is a stronger motivating force? Greed and ego, or love? A mother's love, a mother who really loves her child, she's on call 24 hours a day, willing to do everything and anything for that child as an expression of love. There's no ego or greed. So if we access that dormant love within ourselves, not only do we find the inner satisfaction of who we really are in our relationship with God, but through our careers, whether we're engineers or managers or teachers or doctors or lawyers or farmers or housewives or students or swamis, whatever we may be, we express the inner wisdom, the inner love, the inner satisfaction of our hearts through what we do. With compassion.
You said something very interesting about competitiveness in the corporate culture. We certainly have that here in Intel. It's actually a large part of our corporate culture. And that doesn't come naturally to all people, but to perform well at our jobs, we have to play that game. But it's always felt very contrary to my practice, and I've always been wondering, how can we succeed in our jobs if we have to be competitive? I mean, when we succeed, we're loving ourselves, but it's at somebody else's sometimes advantage. So how can we have a loving practice and try to overcome those types of expectations in the world while still having them tell us you're successful?
It's a beautiful question. Thank you from your heart. That makes it so nice. Integrity is to maintain our ideals and our values even in the face of temptation and fear. Character is to be willing to make personal sacrifices for a higher purpose in life. And this every human being has the opportunity to integrate within their life. So, yes, we have our careers and we have reasons why our career is very important to us. And competition is very much a part of it, especially in corporations. We shouldn't want to hurt people. We shouldn't want to bring other people down so that we can come up. But what we can do is do the very, very best we can to do all we can to do something wonderful for our corporation, for God, and for humanity. Yes? But what is our motive? That is what is important. What's going to give us inner satisfaction in life is our motive. We're not doing it out of envy or arrogance or necessarily greed. We're trying to do the best that we possibly can with the God-given energies and intelligence that we have. And we're willing to compete in that way. We should do it with love rather than envy. And Bhagavad Gita was spoken in that context. Arjuna was a warrior and he had to fight a war to protect the innocent. And Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita not to tell him not to fight, because he had to do it. Otherwise the innocent people would have been plundered and exploited and suffered. He told him how to do it. Now war is pretty competitive. It's about as competitive as anything could be. It was in this extreme setting that Bhagavad Gita was spoken. If a warrior could be competitive with divine consciousness out of love and compassion, not sectarian ideas or selfish ideas, if a warrior could do it under that, then any of us could do it. Even in Intel. Bhagavad Gita teaches us to see it from the eternal reality of our soul. To harmonize our physical actions, our mental thoughts with our heart. And to be compassionate.